And the Trump administration is planning to fire more than 80,000 employees at the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Some people were fired here in Madison. This comes after a memo issued Tuesday explained there would be a restructuring of the department. It is unclear how many people lost their jobs.
WMTV's Cameron Kelly visited the VFW state headquarters to get reaction. Cameron?
Current Wisconsin VA workers are bracing themselves for the nationwide impact. According to Wisconsin's VFW, 30% of these affected employees could be veterans. The VFW is on the east side of Madison, and it will be on the front lines advocating for veterans and employees. Being a voice for those who are scared or unsure if their job is on the line.
The employees really can't advocate on their own behalf, and they don't really have that voice to do that.
State Adjutant Adam Wallace for the Wisconsin Veterans of Foreign Wars is a veteran that formerly worked for the VA.
And it's a very important job, and we want to preserve the quality of care for the veterans in this community and through the state of Wisconsin.
Along with 20 other VFW members, Wallace went to the nation's capital to talk with state lawmakers, including Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin.
A huge percentage of the VA workforce are composed of veterans themselves, is, in my mind, a broken promise and a betrayal of our veterans.
VFW leadership also met with Republican Senator Ron Johnson's aide during the visit. Republican Congressman Derek Van Orden shared a statement saying he has talked with the president's senior advisor Elon Musk about the issue. It says, quote, Mr. Musk was highly receptive and assured me DOGE will be more refined in their recommendations to ensure our vets and farmers are not hurt in the process of eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse in federal spending. Wallace says staff at the VFW want to be a listening ear and a place of comfort. From nurses to custodians, all employees have one mission: serving veterans.
We are your advocates. We want you to provide the best care possible and not have to worry about these looming cuts that can disrupt your job.
The state VFW created an email line for veterans and employees that are affected by these cuts. You can contact them with your personal experience at the email on your screen, vacuts@vfwwi.org. They hope to continue to advocate for those who are not able to speak up. Live in the studio, Cameron Kelly, WMTV 15 News.
Thanks, Cameron. We also reached out to the William S. Middleton Memorial Veterans Hospital about the cuts. The public affairs chief said, quote, Madison VA has dismissed a small number of probationary staff. This decision will have no negative effect on veteran health care, benefits, or other services, and will allow the VA to focus more effectively on its core mission of serving veterans, families, caregivers, and survivors. We cannot discuss specific personnel matters due to privacy concerns.